Okay, good evening, guys, and welcome to today's session. And today we'll be talking about accessibility and inclusive design in Figma. And our guest for today is Brian Benibo. So, just like I said earlier, Brian is an amazing brand and product designer, and as he would like to call himself, a founding designer. And so I have worked with Brian, and I currently work with Brian, and he's very good in in what he does. When it comes to whether product design or branding, he is very skilled in those aspects. And without wasting much time, Brian, I hand over the mic to you.
All right. First of all, thank you very, very much for the opportunity to share my ideas and thoughts with you guys. Obviously, these ideas and thoughts are not new. They are everywhere. They are online as designers. Thank God that we are in a generation where it's easy to access information, right? So Kamala is also a great designer. Like you said, we work together. He has been a great designer. We do great work together. Uh, the company that I will work for and other projects that we have worked together. So today we're going to be talking about. Let me see. I don't have. I have prepared something like a slide type of thing, and so we're going to be having like a conversation. I hope you guys can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Let me see how I can share screen here. Give me a moment, guys.
Oh,
Okay. All right. Can you see my screen?
yes, we can see your screen.
All right. Awesome. Okay. So today we're going to be talking about accessibility and inclusive design in Figma. So generally, not just in Figma, as a designer, as you think, the way a designer should think is a designer should be able to think inclusively. And now, generally, when you talk about inclusivity or accessibility, you want to talk about how whatever you are, whatever product you are building or whatever product you are creating is accessible to everybody. Everybody can use it. Let me give us an example. Well, we're Nigerians, so this should help. A good example would be if we go to the banks now, right? For those of us who have gone to the banks lately, there's this counter thing where you want to talk to the person who issues the teller, right? Before now, when we used to go get checks and tellers to deposit money in the bank, there's this counter. You now go there, you talk to the person. It's actually high. So if you are standing, it's really like chest high, right? And I'm not seeing. I'm just seeing my notes here. So I'm hoping that you guys are. So feel free to say anything if you need
I'll
to.
follow your screen.
Okay, okay. So the example I was giving is so when we go to the bank to like get a deposit note or to pay money or get cash, the counter is like chest high. So you can imagine if someone who is in a wheelchair comes to the bank, they won't be able to deposit money, right? And another example is if you are going to like cinemas or big events area, you see this like inclined plane where they put so that people who have wheelchairs can be able to you can push them up and get into the event places. That's good, right? So what I'm trying to say here, where the challenge is, or where Nigerians have not gotten to is now. So they would say that when the person on the wheelchair gets to the bank, somebody will come out and help them. No, the person who is in the wheelchair, person who is um, I'm trying to get the right word. They're not disabled people. There's what I'm trying to get to. But let me just continue. The person who's in the wheelchair does not want to be treated specially. You saying, okay, the person because the person is in a wheelchair, you now come out and say, okay, let me come out and attend to this person because they're in a special situation. No, 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 no. That is already a bad situation because you are not treating them special from every other person. You would think you that is the person who works in the bank or the designer. you would think you are doing a good job. It's not great. Once you start to treat them different from way you treat normal people, they begin to feel a certain way. So they push the, let's say they, why I'm even bringing up that counter situation is because they haven't even, till now, banks are still have, they still have that account. I went to the bank to get my ATM card, and I still noticed that the counter is still there. You have to stand and put your hand on the counter and be talking to the person. It's high, right? So, if a wheelchair person comes, if a special needs, that's the word. If a special needs person comes, somebody will have to like go around and come and meet them. Hey, welcome to Access Bank. Welcome to this bank. How may we help you? But on a general note, that's not how you attend to everybody. People come, and so they want to also feel normal like every other person, right? So just like for that example, for our own situation as designers, we want people to use an app. Everybody should use the app or the product they're building the same way. That's where inclusivity comes in, accessibility comes in. If I'm using the app, let me get the same result as every other person, irrespective of my situation or if I'm a special needs individual. Right? So let me go to the next slide. So why does it matter? 1 in 6 persons. Now, you sometimes you would think that this data is not correct. It's absolutely correct. 1 in 6 person, right? If we're up to 6 person, the one person among us has a disability. So sometimes not all disabilities are like the ones that are very prone that people will see easily. There's some people have color, they cannot see color properly. People cannot see from a distance, or they might have to be closer where they can see. Right. So generally, people live with some form of disability. Sometimes people have cognitive disabilities too. An example of that is as a designer, you're designing a pricing page and you give them 3 options and you allow them to choose. You are creating a cognitive load for the designer, for the user. What you want to do is, after showing them the 3 options, you now say this option A or B is the actual one that that you should choose, right? Helping them choose so that they don't think, because I don't know, most of us here are designers. Have you noticed that when you do a project, the logo, and you give like up to 4 options, it's now becoming hard for them to choose because the options are becoming too many, right? That's cognitive load. So my slide here says 1 in 6 persons live with a disability. Accessible design is good design. Why? Because everybody is able to use it and everybody is expected to get the same results. If I'm able to get an app, transfer money, let every single person get to that app and transfer money without any fear or favor, right? So 50% of the world's population has a disability. I myself, I have some form of disability. I have to wear my glasses so I can think well on my laptop or on screens. But I can still okay on other places, but on screens I have to wear glasses, right? So if we are 6 persons here, or more than six, I'm among the people with some kind of disability, right? So 1% of users with disabilities live inaccessible sites. That's what does that mean? When people leave sites, the company, the business, the brand, the product is losing money. And apart from losing money, the problem that that product has decided to solve is no longer being solved, which is sad. Because apart from money, brands and products want to solve problems, they want to impact and help people's life. And once you are in situations where your product is not accessible or your brand is not accessible, then a challenge comes in where you're not meeting up to your vision, where you want to help or solve people's problems. 17.1 billion pounds annual value of people around UK alone. This one is just for, I got this data for just UK. I don't want to talk about Nigeria, but I feel like Nigeria do not have data, so I don't even bother myself. In the UK, and right, so designing products that are not accessible is already designing products that bound to lose money. How do you avoid this? We all know our design process, right? Design process is one, empathy, sorry, design thinking process. That's what I meant. Can you hear me? Because I just feel like I just kept talking and talking.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much. So in general, the design thinking process, which I believe every designer should take, that way you should be able to design products that are accessible and inclusive if you follow the design thinking process. which is empathy, define, ideate, and prototype, right? So what does this mean? It means that, so I did not put this up that I believe as general, this is like the basic process that we all follow. The first thing you want to do research to get to know the product, the brand, and the users, their target audience. So as good and great designers, you want to go a step further. General designers just what they do is they do research, find out the product, do a research, target audience and users, right? And they try to understand the users a bit and just, generally just continue the design. But it is important that you take a step further to be empathetic. What does this mean? It means to put yourself in their shoes. Another example I wanted to give that skip my mind in the first time I was giving the example was, have you ever imagined you're in a situation where you went for a what they call this thing, an event where a concert, yeah, we went for a concert and the person that is performing is disabled, probably on a wheelchair, and the people who created the stage, probably some stage can be really high. They put a step. They didn't put the inclined plane, right? Now, the where the challenge is the person has come and he wants to, perform, and he gets there. There's a stairs. He can't go up. Somebody will now come. This is where it gets bad. Somebody will now come, maybe a bouncer or somebody on usher, and say they want to carry the person. Let me stop here. Let this sink in. If you are the person, an adult male or female, you want to go and perform, you have prepared yourself, and they are going to carry you on the stage, you're not going to feel good anymore. So I'm going to take like 5 seconds. So let this sink in. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to us to put ourselves in that shoe. So put yourself in that shoe where you're going to perform and they're not carrying you on top the stage. Imagine if there was an inclined plane. You would just wheel yourself and go on the stage and do your performance, be it a song, be it an instrumental or something awesome. But now they have to carry you. It is not going to feel good. The person is going to use the first 5 to 10, 20 minutes to get their mind off the fact that they have just been carried. In the other person's mind, they are helping. You're not helping. Oh, sorry. Okay. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Let me see. Wow.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Oh, okay, okay. Sorry. My screen, this is sharing.
No, you stopped sharing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's up now.
Sorry, let me go to the next slide. Did you guys hear me till now, or I got broke at some point?
Oh, can hear you. We hear you. We hear you.
Okay. Right. So just put yourself in the shoes of the person in the wheelchair, you being carried. So the act of doing this, putting yourself in that person's shoe, is what is called empathy. And doing this deliberately on every project you work on. If I'm a user, I'm trying to use this app. How do I feel about these colors? Can I see clearly reading the copies on the product? And am I seeing the CTA properly? Are the colors working? So empathy is very. If you ask me, empathy is like the most important part of the design thinking process. Now, the foundation of accessible design is one, perceivable. Your content must be presentable in ways users can perceive. Alternate text, captions, contrast. Contrast is very important. Anything you're doing, make sure the contrast is good. On buttons, on copies, on text, on backgrounds, make sure the copies are good. Is it operable? Our interfaces components must be operable. Keyboard accessibility, no seizure triggers. Is it operable? You know how people will design, and now the challenge I have with devices going into generation. Devices are getting bigger, and I don't believe that the phones should be bigger than the palm of an individual, because I believe phones are what they call handheld devices, right? So once the thing begin to get bigger, that I can't put it in my pocket, I begin to feel a certain way. So if I'm buying a phone, I try to make sure it's a small device that can be in my hands. That's an accessibility issue. right? So, which is making that device, once it's too big, it's no longer operable for me because I have a small palm. You want to put your target points or your buttons in parts where, if it's a mobile device, where the accessible parts where the hands can reach, the typical hands can reach. Then the next thing is what's understandable. Content and UI operations must be understandable. Clear language, simple English. Yesterday I was working on a project with my a team of guys, and we got the AI to give us a copy for our brand strategy. The team was giving us high English. We just got tired. I dumped it and I did that thing from scratch because it was important that what it is understandable, the content, UI operations, processes, text, clear language. Predictive behavior is also what when you look at an app, there's some things that you expect. One of the laws of UX design, I think I'm going to open that now so that it's going to really help us. Let me see. So I'm gonna be hoping that we know these sites. And as designers, we should always bookmark this. Let me see if this is like a new browser for me. Always bookmark it because there are a lot of laws here that help you build products that are accessible and inclusive. All right. So like look at this choice overload. The tendency for people to get overwhelmed when they are presented with a large number of options, often used to used interchangeably with them. We determine the paradox of what choice. Too many choice, cognitive overload, then they can't choose again. Let's go back to our slide. So we'll come to the next thing is robust. Content must be robust enough to enough to be interpreted by assistive technology reliability. So as we do our designs, most countries have situations where it's a must that your design must be able to be accessible by assistive technologies like maybe a prompter or a voice for people who are blind but need to use your product. The AI has to be able to speak the content, and person can listen and still be able to use your product. So the foundation of design is what poor, perceivable, operable, understandable, and robust. Very important, guys. Okay, before I continue, are there any questions?
On for
Are there
now, but no. But if they have the question, they'll drop it in the comment, and I'll call your attention to it.
All right, awesome. So I think at this point, I think we'll just go to Figma, so I can look at some plugins that we can always use to make sure that our, as a junior designer, when I was a junior designer, I used to use my eyes. I used to say, okay, if I can see it like this one now, this is not great because some people who have color blindness will not be able to see properly here, right? Even this one that they put here is here that gave me this. I'm not even sure it's correct. So let's go and check the plugin. Let's go there together. There are some plugins on Figma that we can use. Yeah. Uh-huh. Let me see. Let me look for a plain page. So I'll just play around with some things here. Hide. Okay. Sorry. So let's use this. Let me do alt. Sorry. So let's get some text. I'm gonna just type gibberish here. All right. Oh, sorry. I don't know what page I am now. Sorry. Let me just do this here. Hope I'm not boring also.
No, you're not.
I think we can work with this. All right, so we'll put this here, put this here, we'll put this here, and we'll remove this. So imagine this button, some text and on. So what I want to do is want to make sure as a designer I'm trying to use plugins. This is one contrast. There are a lot of them. We're going to check a couple that will give us something good. Let's play. Let's see. I think I used this recently. Let me check. All right. So let's pick a brand color. Let's say this is good. So let's see if this is contrast enough. Now, so what I do is I pick one here and I pick and so it now tells you for large text 4.5 55 good. You want to get up to 90 body text 70. So body text won't work here. So let's imagine this is body text now. Let me make it smaller as body text usually are. Right. So in a normal situation 24. Let me zoom in a little bit. Oh, sorry. All right. Can you see now? Because of the size, it is now what's legible. Oh, sorry, it's not using the right. And sometimes colors behave differently. Understand? And these people they haven't speaking language, I might don't understand. Let me go. Okay, this one. Okay, this also gives us different options that can work. Right? This is another plugin I can also check for us. Let me see contrast. So what I'm trying to say is always look out for this normal text, large text, and graphics. Once you see triple A, you want to go, once you set, you want to make sure you get to the triple A to make sure okay you are doing a good job. This everybody can see this. Everybody can see this, right? So let's say for a very cool design now, you see it is now beginning to fail because we want to fail this. So different options. You always check for this. Always use a plugin. Do not use your eyes. Your eyes can be deceiving. Like this now, I can see this clearly. If this was a graphic poster design, I can see this clearly. This I can also see clearly. But if I do not use this contrast checker to tell me, I would not know. I mean, if you normal text failed, it only works for large text. So if I zoom in, people can see, right? So this now telling you that people who have to see things from a distance will struggle to see what's written there. Are we following?
Yes.
Right. So always look out. Make sure you get your AAA, and it doesn't matter the kind of plugin you're using. Just look out for the one that gives you this information. Any color. I think I can use the opportunity to try some other color. Okay, let's see this one. Interesting. Let me choose this. You see, normal text works. It's not up to so this can go, but there is a situation where some people can also struggle. I believe in this case where people will struggle is people who don't see colors. So people who are color blind only see gray and white. They won't struggle to see black, right? So they'll be seeing it as this. And once it's gray and white, they will struggle. So you always want to make sure you get 3 A's here and make sure you can see clearly. And you looking at it from your design and everything, you can see it. So try not to judge with your own eyes. Sorry. It was that, yeah, it's like okay. Try not to judge with your own eyes. Next thing is our typography. Now, for this situation, right? There's also the part where designers have the right to put different text size. But what you want to do is want to make sure it is big enough. H1, 32 pixel section. So like these are the basic sizes. Yours, sorry. These are like the basic sizes. Your body text. I'm not talking to you, Siri. Yeah. Your body text should always be this is like minimum. If you want to really body text for bodies and copies, you always want to make sure it's 16 pixel. Metadata and labels want to make sure it's what 12 pixel. If you are going smaller than this and this, let's say 14, people do 14 sometimes, people do 10 sometimes. You want to be careful. You want to make sure people can what read your text. And also, while we are doing contrast on colors, size also matters. Sometimes there's some text that you can see when they are big, but when they get smaller, you can't see them anymore. So minimum body text is 16 pixel for body text. Line height 1.5 times what font size. Limit line height. For me, I like to do like 7 characters. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This one is okay, like 10. I like to do 7 to 10 characters per line, right? So because I don't know if the can you guys hear me? Are we following?
Yes, yes, we are.
It's an example when we are reading. For those of us who read, I read a lot. Not a lot. Let me say the truth. I read, but not a lot. But for some days now, I'll be struggling to read, but I read quite often. Have you noticed that, or sometimes when you get a book that is not properly formatted and you're reading, you notice that as you're reading, I think I will switch off my on my camera here, so I think I'll be able to illustrate what I want to show us. Okay, so let me go back to my slide now. So, so this is a book I recommend to everybody to read as designers. So this is a properly formatted text, right? It is that's why it's not printed in white. It's printed in this color. So even if you're reading on this one anyway, it's not going to blast into your eyes. Now, a good, properly formatted book, as you're reading each line, anytime you get to this end, you come down, you just flow. You come down, you just flow, just continue like that. If you get a book and you're reading that book, and every time you go through the book and you come down, you notice that you are coming back to the same line that you started before. That book was not, that means the line height is not what good enough. That means the book itself was not formatted well, which can say that the book is not an originally printed book, right? So please, so let me see how many text here they have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So these people have 12. I can understand because it's a book, right? They imagine that people want to buy a book, they want to actually read. But on the browser, people do not come to read. They just come to see what your stuff, know what you're doing. So you want to read the amount of text from, let's say, a minimum of 7 to 10 or 12, right? Line heights, very important. Avoid italics only labels, left align body copy. So there's something that when I started design as a junior designer, or for everybody generally, if you do not know what to do, always left align. If you left align, you will never have issues. You will always be good. If you are once you are working and you're struggling, don't know what to do, left align. Why? Because generally as we are in situations where we read from up to down, left to right, right? And on brow, if you're working on the website also, it's the same thing. So you usually have that zigzag movement, up to down, left to right. So the people continue reading like this, right? So you want to make sure. So in the situations where you do not know what to do, you always want to what left align. We're here now. Okay, so your accessibility as now in Figma. Built-in features, things like auto layout, I believe we know how to use auto layouts well. Component states, text styles, and color styles. These are the things once you are working on these things, you are checking for accessibility. These are the opportunities for you to be accessible. You want to make sure that auto layout, as the sizes are changing for each breakpoint, it is the scales or sizes are resizing properly, right? Component states, over states, focus states, especially when you are doing login. Most it's very few websites get it when they do login with the wrong password, the overstate of the input field, the focus state, the disabled state, and all of that, right? Text styles, color. styles. Then for plugins, these are some plugins that I mentioned here. These are some of the low ones you can use. You can use the other ones you can also use to help your accessibility, like I mentioned earlier. Now, so generally, brands like Apple, when you want to upload your product on Apple, they check for accessibility a lot. But at the end of the day, accessibility is beyond compliance. Is who you are as a designer, right? There's a book. Okay, the book is in my other shelf. It talks about how the book talks about how when you are designing, you should design for a woman. Now, this is not just for brand and product or graphic design. Generally, you're designing products. If you design for a woman, if a woman is able to use your product, humans will be able to use your product. Why? Because humans, their hands are smaller. They are not they are more careful than men and all of that. So I will get the book and all. I think I'll share the name of the book with Kamal and can share with you guys. Right. So inclusive design is more than compliance. Accessibility designs are more than compliance, are bigger than compliance. They should be who you are as an individual, right? You should. The first one here says design exclusion is often unintentional. Spot it by including diverse users in your testing. So usually, most companies in Nigeria, they are what they call function over form. Is the app working? Is it working? Is it working? They don't want to test too much. Is it working? Go live, ship, 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 ship. People have to do that thing that they call Oga Center design. Into Oga talk, let's just do it, let's ship it. But at the end of the day, it is our responsibilities as designers. We have to touch lights in our hands, to touchlight everything to make sure that our users are happy with our product. Because if you just do that and test a product within your company, everybody is happy with it. You are unintentionally excluding some vital people that are going to use your product, and by the time they use it, they will begin to suffer. Another one is solve for one, scale to many, right? So look at one person, one of your your lead targets user, study them, design very well for them, and as the product goes up, you begin to learn. That's another thing Nigerian companies I believe they should learn. Once they ship, some of them stop learning. What they want to do is upload new features. But it's important that as designers, we try to get our companies to, once they ship, you on your own end, you are watching, trying to understand how people are using your product and learning how to rebuild. When you are doing your updates, not just only features, you are improving the designs for users. Learn from diversity. People with disabilities are expert adapters. Their solutions can become mainstream. A good example for this is the inclined plane. I feel this that when you go to the bank, events, shopping mall, cinema, that inclined plane, that's what everybody uses. We'll now leave the stairs that was done already. But the one that was done for the inclusive people, that is the one everybody wants to now use. Because if you design for special needs people, you are designing for everybody. Everybody is going to enjoy it. Everybody is going to, in fact, that's how human beings are. Because once you design for special needs people, you have just what you have done is you have made your product a lot easier to use for a normal person. So it means that their cognitive load has gone down, stress load has gone down, everything is accessible. They begin to enjoy your app. They begin to expect your app to behave in a certain way, and it is behaving. They are just excited and they want to remain in your app, right? Or your product website, as the case may be. Do not rely on color alone. Use icons, patterns, label alongside colors. Never use red and green as the only signal, right? So there's also yellow for caution. Then the next is design for keyboard first. If it works with a keyboard, it works for screen readers, switches, and what power users. Next is write for clarity. Plain language, clear labels, descriptive link. That's one thing I like about product design or UI UX. It's not like graphic design is like the most difficult design there is. I know some people will not agree with me, but I believe strongly that it is easier to design in product because everything you're doing, you're trying to make things easy. Okay, I'm not using the right word now. What I mean by it is a lot is you're not trying to be creative. Nobody's asking you to be creative. To the products, let it be clean, let it be clear, plain languages, clear labels, and it is working. And it is only in product design where the design may not look flashy or nice or blah blah blah. But once it is clean, right? People can see, okay, I come to this button to know what it does. The colors are not splashing on their eyes. They're able to read everything. They will begin to use your product early, right? So that's why it's advised that companies, once they design their first MVP, it's okay for them to ship. Then as the product starts to people get to use them, they now begin to make it look better. I think this thing has gone off again.
Yeah, yes.
Uh-huh. Right. But for graphic design, you cannot repeat design. No. They will look at you like someone that you have to be creative. Sometimes they will tell you to give us three options, right? So graphic design, those graphic designers that do those nice flyers on Photoshop. I agree on my guys are the best. I struggle with that too, but you know. So the next thing is where were we? We're done here. We're done here. All right. So last slide. Your challenge: start designing for everyone today. Number one, audit a screen you have designed. Run the able plugin, guide that able plugin, add keyboard focus states on all your interactive elements in your current projects. Add accessibility annotations to your next Figma handoff. Accessibility annotations are easy. Like it's not like there's something is anything special. You can just label things to your developer. Say this part is supposed to be like this. You know that the developer knows what they are doing and they just do and don't just do what they like, you know, and share. Right. So annotate your projects so that developers follow your project the way you want them to. Share all these results with your team and propose one systematic what fix. Are there any questions?
Guys, if you have any question, you can drop it in the comments.
I hope I've not just be yapping all the way that people are understanding what I'm saying. Let me see. Let me see us. Yeah. Are there any questions? Daniel, are there questions? Derek, John, Anna, are there questions? Okay. Daniel says we should get the slides. Okay, yeah. I'll share the slide with Kamal. I'll share with you. You do okay. Andrew, can you hear me now? Okay, the triple A. Can you, so for to be sincere with you, I believe like there are different stages. Like how clear it is. You can Google this or easier to figure it out, right? But what it means is that because if you are someone who struggle like me, I struggle to see. I went to do my I had a doctor's appointment last week, and I noticed that the difference between what I can see with my glasses and what I can see with my bare eyes is a lot, right? So sometimes they have to like measure. Some people because some people have the situations for disabilities are different. Some people can see when they come close to the screen. Some people can see when they are far. Some people can see some colors. Some people can see no colors. Everything where your screen in their own eyes are seeing only gray and white. If the yellow or red is if it's a yellow, it's gray. If it's red, it's dark gray. If it's white, it's white. If it's very light gray, it will come out to be getting close to white, right? So so the AA is saying that this one highest level you can see clearly, right? So that's just so there's A. I think some plugins even have AA, and triple A. So then I hope you've understood. How can designers move beyond compliance-driven accessibility, such as meeting with the BAC standard, yeah, the BCAG standards to create truly inclusive experience in tools like Figma, especially when designing for diverse user groups with very cognitive, visual, and motor abilities, while still balancing business goals, aesthetics considerations, and the constraints of modern product development workflows. Nice, very good question. So, how do you want to do this? First of all, the designer is responsible. Like you should hold yourself accountable to make sure that your products are accessible and inclusive, right? That means if they just come to a company and say your product is not accessible, who are they going to blame? They're going to hold you, the designer. And I talked about the design thinking process. So generally, that's your empathy phase. That's where you should do your research to understand the user very well. Now, you talked about situations where there are varying, like I mentioned, yeah, obviously there's always varying cognitive situations, varying visual situations, very motor situations. Some people have complete thumbs, fingers in their palms. Some don't have enough. Some have smaller ones. Some have bigger ones. How do you design for everybody? The truth is, you cannot design for everybody. You have to start with one. That's why there's always a situation for your MVP. On your MVP, you want to target who is the most important user, the people who are suffering the most, that problem you want to solve, the people that are facing that problem. Those are the people you want to solve first. The reason for that is, yeah, drop your question. The reason for that is there are people called early adopters, and early adopters are people who, once a new technology comes out, they want to adopt it, right? Now, the people who are using your app may not be early adopters, but if you are solving the problem for them, they become early adopters because of the problem that they are facing. They want to search for it, they want to go find it, and they quickly they adopt the product early. And once you're solving their problem, they'll be good. They will be the one that will now begin to tell every other person word of mouth, and your product begins to grow and get more users. So you cannot really do for everybody at once. On the MVP stage, you want to design for your target user. That person. So if your target users are designers, that means you know that designers, not all designers are seeing where. Not all designers are using MacBook. Some are using Windows. Some are using, I'm not abusing anybody, they're using terrible laptops. What I mean by that is the colors on the laptops are not coming out very well, right? I had that challenge recently. I was the leader of a group. We were trying to work on a project, and I did not partake in choosing the colors or the font. I just allowed them to do it. When I came back and tried to work with the colors, I couldn't. Not that I couldn't, but I felt like it was not great. I had to now think about how to do it again, right? So you have to think about if designers are your target audience, for example, you want to make sure that those designers you will design for them. Now you will target only them, knowing that they have visual situations. Not all see properly. Not most of them wear glasses. Most of them don't use great laptops when working. Let's say you're designing an application, like what my friend did. A friend of mine, or one of my egbon, what they call egbon, those people that I got. He designed a software with AI that helps designers take their design token from their Figma, so they can take the design token and put on their what they call it, AI. So the AI will not be using any color and be hallucinating. The AI will use your design tokens. So for them to do that, they have to make sure that he thinks about every designer, the one that can see where, the one that cannot see where, the one that is using Windows, the one that does not have internet or light. So that probably you have to think that this app should work offline. Right? So that way, once you design for them, once they're happy, they will invite their friends and you continue to improve your designs like that. And as every time there is an update, you bring in a new set of people, you bring in new people with right motor disabilities. Because if you want to do that, you're going to be losing some business goals, and aesthetics may be lost. But if you tackle it one by one like this, that way you can carry everything. Hope that answers your questions, John. So, John, your second question is accessibility possible without user testing with real disabled? Okay, it is possible, right? But the thing is, somebody has to take responsibility, right? So it's not like it's not 100%. It is, how do I say, it is possible to be able to do that because there are technologies now that you can use to, like, this our NE product, this our color contrast now. Now, there are some situations where it is not possible. You have to go and be with them. I think back in 2019 or 2018, there was a project I was working on. The project did not pull through. The project was, I've forgotten exactly what I was designing, but I had to go to where disabled people live. That was where I learned that disabled people they don't like people to carry them. If you allow you carry them, it's because they don't have any option. But for them, it is not a good feeling for them to be carried. I mean, for the ones who, especially these people who can't walk, right? carrying them is like they don't have a choice, and it's not a good feeling for them, right? So there's some situations where it is possible. There's some it is not possible. You have to go and search and find out. That's one reason why I like Apple, right? Apple uses design to uses design and marketing to make their product very expensive, which is not nice. So why? Because they design their design part, they do a lot of research to find out what designers want or what developers want and build for that. That is why Apple has struggled to create a touchscreen laptop because they feel like if I'm doing Photoshop, I'm writing VS Code, I cannot be doing touch. I don't have time for touchscreen because they're targeting people users, right? And there are other features that Apple have refused to use because they believe that the user that they're designing for will not need them. But sadly, they're doing touchscreen. I don't believe in touchscreen either. The next product is going to have touchscreen. And I believe people that are listening to people and all of that. So, like your question, very good question. For you to be able to design for, you have to. That is a yes and no question. Yes, it is possible to design for disabled people, and there's some projects you have to go. Your empathy that you're doing online will not work. Anyhow you want to do it online, we have to go down, go and meet them, go to a home where there's a special needs people home, live with them, experience them. That way you can now do what they call empathy. Because sometimes our empathy online is fake empathy, sha, but you get. Hope I've answered the question, John. Please reply on the chat if I've answered both questions as you want. Give me a moment, please. All right. So, are there any questions? Oh yeah. So, John, give me a moment.
So
So, John,
if you have a
yeah.
question, drop it.
Okay.
So I can answer. We will soon be leaving here.
So once again, thank you guys for having me do this. I hope you guys had as much fun as I did. And meeting you guys, Derek, John, Daniel, Rosa, Yuri, and Sarah. Let me drop my LinkedIn page. If you have any other questions, you can quickly, or you can just search for me on all platforms. Brian, LinkedIn, anywhere. Either if it's on places like Twitter or Instagram, one word. If it's LinkedIn, name and surname like this, then you'll be able to find me.
Okay, thank you. Big thank you to you, Brian, for for sharing such valuable insight and practical knowledge. And it was an amazing session. It was an amazing session, and we appreciate the time, the energy, and and then the knowledge that you brought. Okay, so I'm coming. Let me. So we're looking forward to we're looking forward to having more of you. So hopefully next month. Sorry, okay, we are still in April, so this might probably be our last session before config, which is happening in June. So hopefully
Okay.
after config, we'll have more of these sessions together.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
Thank you. So Daniel is saying mine is basically how to start designing again. I need motivation.
All right. So for Daniel, what I would tell you is you have to find it. If that motivation, how do you get it? For some people, it is money. Hungry, supper, we're in Nigeria, things are hard. They need to get money, they need to learn a skill, right? For some people, they already have money, so they design for fun. Which one is it for you? If you design for fun, so if just maybe you are distracted, you're doing other stuff and all of that, right? So you don't have the time. Like recently, I started a new hobby, and the hobby is there's digital product design and there's physical product design. So I started sketching. Where is that place? started sketching different stuff. You can see, started sketching this guy. So different products and stuff. Just this was a hobby. Sorry. So for some weeks now, I've not been able to go back because I've been busy. That's fine. You have to find out why are you doing it. Once you find why you are doing it, you'll be able to go back, create moment, and you don't have to do so much. Some days, 30 minutes. Some days, 1 hour. Even if you show up for one day and you do 30 minutes of design, you have showed up for that day, and
And and
continue like that. Mm.
to add to what you just said, I think so. When I started learning, this, I think I've shared this in the communities a while ago. When I started learning design, I was designing every single day. I was on Figma. Okay, then I think I started on XD. So I was on
Yeah,
Adobe X. I was on Adobe XD every day designing. So how do I do that? So what I do most times here, I go to Pinterest and I search for designs, or I go on Twitter or Instagram. I search for designs and then I bring them to XD, and then I try to redesign them. And
yeah,
that was the day of when I was trying to, like, I was hungry. And then now, because I know I don't have that much time to design every day, what I do is that I try my best to make sure in a week I do one personal project or design of myself for myself.
mm.
A week doesn't go by, so it could be, it doesn't have to be UI UX design, either UI UX design or graphic design. I do that at least once a week, every week. So instead of just staying there doing nothing, I like when I'm not doing an office work or a client job, I do my own. I just make sure that a week doesn't go by without me doing something for myself. So you can try that, and
Yeah.
then
So
try try,
everything.
try and connect with try and connect with someone like an accountability partner.
Yeah, so get the accountability partner, show up for yourself every day, and make friends online. Right? There are physical friends and there are online friends. Make friends online on LinkedIn. Go online, search for people who are doing what you're doing. Look at what they're doing. Talk to them. Like today, um, I I, I message people on LinkedIn. If they do something that I like that I can't do, I'll straight up message you. How do you do this stuff? Can I have moments a meeting? I have a meeting with someone that a designer from Paystack on Tuesday. Why? Because she's a designer and she's a developer. I think she transcended from a designer and she became a developer, and that's something I want to do. So I messaged her and I asked her how she did it, and we scheduled a meeting so we can talk about it. Right. So always be able. Listen, I would talk and the see road.
Yeah, true.
So message people online, people who are doing that that you like. Talk to them, meet them your friends, and you start. I Daniel, so you can also message me on any of the platforms. I'll start giving you tasks. All right,
Thank
guys.
you,
I
thank you, guys, and thank you everyone for joining too. And until next time, this is the end of the road for us here today. Thank you, Brian, again for coming.
I